So happy to let you know that this is our first episode to kind of like jump into something really, interesting topic about the technology that we never explore. Anyway, guys, I go by the name Mickey aka Kitty Pink. I'm the show host of Asianfluence and also the Techtalk. Yes, so I think our guest is here. All right, guys. I'm so excited, guys, because today we have a guest. Woohoo! This is like new, kind of like a new thing that I have never been explored. But when I was like younger, I loved technology. While we let our guest sit down, your mic is over there. Okay. Oops. Yes. So, hi. How are you? Yes. Yes. Okay. So you are still tuning into Tech Talk on CHUO 89.1 FM, and today is kind of like we dive into an important topic that will affect thousands of Canadians. Okay, and especially with the language training in the public service. It's really interesting topic that I never think about it. I have never thought about it when I was first here in Canada. And do you know that 1 in 3 public servants have faced career setback because of lacking of the access to the second language training? And there's also like another crazy thing that happening is that 50,000 employees got impacted by that. And today, I'm so proud to have Yon with me. So he's a team lead of this project. Maybe can you be closer to the mic?
Yes, is this okay?
Yes, you're good. So you're one of the brilliant people who actually work behind this project, right? It's called New AI Driven Through Design to change the way our public servants work. So how are you today?
I'm good. Thank you, Mickey. So it's actually called Language LSET. So it stands for Language Evaluation and Training Tool. I'm really excited to be here and talk about this project with you.
So I think my listener might not know you well. So can you reintroduce yourself?
Of course. Hello, everybody. So my name is Ion-Mircea Ghinda. I am currently working at Global Affairs Canada. I have been with the federal government for close to 15 years now. I have also graduated from Concordia University, McGill University in Montreal, and Harvard University in the United States. My topics of study were more finance, accounting, business related. Recently, I'm kind of changing my career going towards diplomacy, but I'm also interested in languages. I'm a polyglot. I speak 6 or 7 languages.
Wow.
Thank you. I also like technology. I like green tech. So full disclosure, my father is a PhD in green tech. So I know a lot of what fuels technology now requires a lot of energy. So it's very important. Canada has a lot of green energy. So that could definitely help the world if we use more green tech for fueling our AI. And up north, we have a lot of energy. Also, the servers for AI require a lot of, they generate a lot of heat, right? So it's better to put them in cooler environments. So for Canada, that's very easy to, like the higher up you go in Canada, it's cooler. Yeah. So that definitely would help with the technology and, the dissipation of the heat. So there's a lot of different topics that kind of I am interested about, and it's all coming together in this project that I'm working on. So I'm happy to tell you more about it. Thank you.
Wow. So let's start with the big picture, okay?
Sure.
So I have such a funny assumption when I first came to Canada. I always think that every Canadian is bilingual.
Well, I mean, a lot of us are, but there's quite a few that are not. There's actually a very famous book called The Two Solitudes. I don't remember who wrote it, but it basically addresses the fact that there are people who only speak one of the two languages and they can't talk to the people who speak the other one. And even the bilingual people, they might be stronger in one language than the other. So because people assume that they are weaker in a specific language, even though they might understand the language, when they try to speak it, other people might just jump in the language that they assume that the person's proficient in. So they don't really have a chance to maintain and to practice and to exercise the languages. And also it helps to make sure that people are comfortable speaking in the language of their choice. We see that very much in the federal government when we go to a meeting and, everybody who speaks a specific language, like if the meeting kind of like tries to go towards the lowest denominator. So as soon as one person doesn't speak one of the two languages, then the meeting happens in the language that that person is able to speak. But that some people may be comfortable in the other language. So, if they were to just speak in the language of their choice, which is what we're encouraged as public servants, then the other people who don't understand, they're left out for portions of the meeting. And that's not helping with the cohesion, and it's also not helping with the projects that the people work on. And those projects ultimately help the public, the Canadian, because the public service, it has the word service in it, which is very important. It means that we're there to serve the Canadian. So if we are not able to understand each other, then it's very hard for us to deliver.
So that is like become like the most crucial problem right now, right?
Well, I would say the most, but it's a very crucial problem. And for some people, it is the most crucial problem because some people are stuck in their position and they might have everything they need to progress. They might be very experienced in what they do. They might be ready to go lead teams, but they're not able to lead teams because in order to lead a team in the federal government, you need to be what they call CBC proficient. And that actually just changed in June of this year. Before it used to be BBB, which is still kind of intermediate level of French for all the levels. So they have comprehension, they have writing, and they have oral speaking. Now, people used to require kind of intermediate to lead people, but now they upped up the comprehension and the oral to C, which is the advanced level. So unless you're advanced, you can't even hope to lead people. But you might want to become a manager. Like some people are very skilled. Like I used to manage a person who was with the department since 2001. So that's actually before I immigrated in Canada. My family and I immigrated. So my siblings, my parents, myself, we immigrated in 2003. So just to know that there are people who are stuck in their positions from decades, that drives me to actually solve this problem and to help the public servants to be fully bilingual.
Oh, wow. So this sounds really exciting. So I just like try to kind of like get the actual name. It's called Language Competency Evaluation and Training Tools, LCETT.
Yeah, that's the name that I submitted.
Yeah.
I had it as AI driven, so it was LSET with A at the beginning, but it was spelling all set,
Yeah, awesome.
But they took away the A because I guess I don't know. That's what the organizers wanted the name to be. However, we don't know what the final production name will be.
So like this
title
is still like the in progress.
Well, yes, because we're currently working on minimum MVP, so that's called minimum viable product, and we are actually looking at different components of this tool that will be revolutionary in their own right, and then when you put them together in a secure environment, that will be ready to be deployed in the federal government across the government. And actually, maybe I can speak for the listeners to do a little publicity to our friends at the Public Service Procurement Canada, who just launched today their translation tool. So it's a fully integrated translation tool between the official languages, English, French. It is on the protected B environment, so that means that it's secure for the federal public servants to use. So when people will use this translation tool, they will actually they will be sure that their data doesn't go outside of the federal government, which is very important for us. Especially in today's challenging environment. We don't want our data to be all over the world, especially if it has to do with things related to Canadians and how we provide service to Canadians, which may be confidential. Yeah.
Like you already talk about like confidential stuff. So I know that when people talk about AI, people always have a concern about their security.
Yes.
Like how you guys want to handle, how you gonna handle it?
Well, okay, so let's break apart a few concepts which are very important in AI that will help all the listeners understand. Before we get to security, we have to understand what is AI. So AI means artificial intelligence. It could be different types of artificial intelligence, but the Turing test that the mathematician Turing, who did the Enigma back in the 20s, basically he said that a machine is intelligent if there's no distinction between the human doing a certain task or a machine. So that might let our listeners think about robots, but it doesn't have to look like a humanoid. It can be a program that does something that's well or better than a human. Now, there's the AI that everybody knows now is a generative language model. So these models, they basically take the lengths between words, so the association between words, and they have something called a RAG, so research augmented. It's a search term. So basically, what they do with this is they look at the difference linguistically between, let's say, king and queen, and they also look at the difference between the word man and woman, and then they are able to understand that if you're talking about the female of a king, it will be queen. So this happens in thousands of dimensions, so it's more than three-dimensional because it's all based on mathematical equations. But there's other AIs out there. So there were AIs called Alpha Zero, for example, that was actually able to play chess better than a human because it learned how to play chess by itself. And then because it learned it through the artificial intelligence, it was able to come up with moves that humans didn't come up with in the past 2,000 years. Like humanity was always assuming that you have to put more accent on your king, your queen. However, AI realized that if you lose your queen at the beginning of the game and then you focus on your pawns, you might play better. So then these new ways of playing chess now became commonplace and people learned them. MIT came with an AI that found a molecule called halicin, which can basically kill a lot of bad bacteria. So it would have taken humanity another 200-300 years to come up with this molecule, but AI and MIT were able to come up with a software that was predicting the properties of which molecules kill bacteria, and it applied it to 61,000 of molecules that were not tested by humans yet. Humans only tested maybe 3,000 molecules, so it would have taken you another few hundred years. So those are different AIs that are not language related. But now we're getting into the generative AI that people know, which is basically ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini. So these are large language models. So the industry now is basically telling us that the large language models are the way to go to achieve something called generalized AI, or they call it AGI. So that's basically the holy grail of AI. They want us to believe that eventually AI will do all our jobs and they will know everything about everybody. So that's kind of a big brother kind of thinking, So that's not the only way of looking at AI, however, luckily, right?
Luckily, yes.
So there's another train of thought where the AI can become open. So you can have smaller specialized models, such as in my Harvard class on data science, Professor Kortler, our professor, was actually letting us build mini AIs, and we are using the R programming language. So I actually built an AI that was, for example, detecting if a tweet is political or not. Yeah, so I did that in 2019, right before COVID.
Okay.
And so that's 5 years ago, but that was a language-based AI that I built. It was small AI, but it was still pretty good. I think the accuracy was something like 95% to detect if a tweet is political. So if you have a specialized model, it doesn't have to be on a huge data center. You could have it on your laptop in the future, and it could be a personal language model. But before we get to that level, we need to make sure that our language models are So we call them language models. They're basically kind of like electronic brains, if you will. So there are some companies like Facebook, Meta. They have a model called Llama. It's an open source model. So if you have a server, you could install it, and then you could have your own AI at home.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
And you can train it. So NVIDIA has their own models. Now, these big companies, they also have the technology that is used to fuel the data center. So there's a difference between a CPU, computer processing unit, and a GPU, graphic processing unit. So the difference is that the CPU works more with straightforward equations. So it's more mathematical, small equations, direct, whereas the GPU works with matrices, so it's better for images. So that's why NVIDIA has such a big lead on the image-related AI, because they have the technology behind the graphics related to AI.
Yeah.
So now to now that I
get back to
I gave you a lot of the background and the open versus closed. Now let's get back to security. So when you're talking about closed AIs such as ChatGPT, for example, the concern is that your data will go to their server somewhere in the United States, and you don't know if it's if the product is free, like let's say the Google Gemini. Well, you don't know how your data is used. Like maybe it's used to sell you things. Maybe it's used. There's a concern now that Google is asking people to put in their pictures to get a better picture for their LinkedIn, for example. But they're also using those pictures to train their model. So that means that in that digital brain, there's going to be a picture of you forever. And you may have not known that, and you may not have read the terms and conditions that stipulate that you are now giving your image to Google. And then when you're asking for somebody who looks like somebody who came from your country, the AI generated image might look like you.
Ooh.
Now, you might like that, but some people might not, right? So that's a security concern. We also know that these large companies that do the large language models, they also scrap a lot of stuff on the internet. So they take stuff from Reddit, they take stuff from the corners of the web that are not, the best information. So this information, the way they're limiting people accessing it as a result from the AI is that they block. So there's actually people in some countries that get paid like $1 or $2 a day, very little money. And they actually, their job is to figure out if the responses are acceptable or not, and then they put blocks based on that. So in a way that shields most of the users from that bad data coming back as answers, but it also puts a lot of toll on these people who are actually used to as their job is to look at a lot of information that can give them PTSD. So we have to also be aware of the human cost that is generated in training these large models, and also the energy cost, because it's huge energy costs. So security, human cost, energy cost, these are all important considerations, and I'm glad you mentioned the security one.
Because when it comes to AI, the most concern is about that data privacy. That's like kind of most concern for me. Like sometimes I know how to use prompt to create like a lot of, I think my listener might notice that I've been posting my picture with AI.
Oh, they're beautiful. I've seen some of them.
Thank you. So I've been like using the prompt to create it.
Yes.
I kind of like learning. I love technology. So that's why I'm kind of like, and you said to me that you want to come on the radio, and like, let's talk about it.
Of course.
And I know that this program, the AI that you are launching right now is a 3D, right? Like 3D interactive AI tutor. So how that works?
Yeah, that's one of the components of our tool that we're working on. So basically the hope is that we are going to have a tutor that looks like a person that you can interact and you can talk with, and it can help with the supervised portion of the learning. So in the past, you would be either in a class and the teacher would teach you in the traditional format, or you would have a one-on-one tutor. Federal government uses both.
Yeah.
But we don't want to get rid of the humans, right? Like I'm very keen on the fact that, you know, a lot of AI nowadays is sold to executives as you're going to get rid of so many positions if you use AI. And even a recent interview between Sam Altman and Tucker Carlson, Sam Altman was basically saying, and he was not joking in his mind, he was saying that, oh, the developer jobs are already gone. Now we're going to get rid of all the customer service jobs. And soon the only job that will matter is the executive of IT company, because I don't want to get rid of my job. So I actually don't agree with that thinking, because I think that we still need all these people to have a job.
Yes.
And we also need to make sure that they will have a job, and the way they use the AI will enhance what they do rather than take their job away. So I'm for using AI to go beyond of what the people are doing today and bring back the power to the let's say the previous traditional teachers. How can they use AI to teach better?
Yeah.
So that can scale up the learning. So that means that if I only have, I don't know, 100,000 teachers in a country of 40 million people, let's say, I don't know exactly how many teachers are out there. Well, I could keep 100,000 people. I could add another 100,000 people.
Okay.
But with these 200,000 people can teach the whole 40 million, as opposed to them only teaching 1 million up until now.
Okay.
So you see, you scale up the power of the humans, but you will also have an element where you just talk to the AI. It's kind of like a computer game. You know, a lot of people like to go play computer games. They have an avatar.
Yeah.
So now you'll have an avatar talking to you and teaching you. So that's in AI lingo, it's called supervised learning. So you have somebody who's supervising your learning and looks on one-on-one on you. But then we're also trying to tackle the problem of classroom learning. So La Cité Collégiale, I have a friend who used to work there. They did a research and they came up with some very counterintuitive results. So in the government, you know, if you want to get training, you might be offered by your manager classroom training or one-on-one training. So I'm going to ask you a question. Let's
okay, sure. Yeah.
So let's say you work for the government and you don't speak French. Do you speak French? Parlez-vous français?
Oui, je parle français.
Oui, donc maintenant vous parlez français. Mais let's
I'll pretend that I don't speak
French. Okay. So I'm your manager and I say, oh, Mickey, I have a proposal for you. For the next 6 months, I don't really need you on this project. I'd rather you focus on your French learning. So I will put you on French learning. You'll still get paid. But I have two options for you.
Okay.
Okay, one of them is that I will give you one-on-one tutor training. And the other one is that I will put you in a classroom training. Do you want me to tell you how much money I'll pay for either one? You know, in the government, we're very public with
I know.
salaries and
how much?
For the employees. Like if you want to see the salary for a certain level of the government, you can go online and you can find out. So it's public, you know.
I know. Like you have like a 70,000, right? For expense?
No. Let's say I found a school that will give you one-on-one tutoring for 6 months for 50K.
Oh.
Okay. And then I also found the same school is giving you classroom training and I will pay maybe 20K.
I'll go for one-on-one, definitely, yeah.
Okay, but was it because of the cost or because of the one-on-one part?
For me, I like one-on-one because it's more like, how to say, it's like touching. You know what I mean? It's like, if I have question, I ask right away. So it's like more interactive.
Right. So that actually is what most public servants say is for one of the arguments. The other argument is that they go for the, I'm going to take the higher cost one because then they feel they get a bit bigger benefit. So their main argument is what you say, but the cost is a secondary argument. Now, the Cité Collégiale came up through their research with the counter intuitive argument that actually people get better in a classroom environment. They learn
really?
Faster. Would you understand why? Like, what would you think the reason is?
I feel like because in the class, you will get more motivation because you have competition with your classmate. But if you study one-on-one, you kind of like, you don't have any motivation to study sometimes.
100%. So these colleagues of mine who did one-on-one training, you know, it's not as glamorous as it sounds. Like you think that you'll have full attention of the tutor, but that can become quickly oppressive. If you do that 8 hours a day for 6 months, you may not be there with your friend. You're there with a tutor. Now, sometimes, luckily, hopefully, the tutor is a very good professor, but sometimes the language school may not spend enough time to train their tutors. So that might also be an issue, is that the language school, even if they're prepared to train people, they're not there behind them while they're teaching, right? So the tutor may not be comfortable teaching certain aspects. They might not know exactly how it relates to your exam for the federal government. So even if they teach you all the grammar in the world, it may not help you on the exam format that you will have to do. It may not help you in your day-to-day job, because you may know every verb, how it conjugates, but how do you apply it, when you write an email? That's, something that you may not cover enough with a tutor who doesn't work in the federal government. So what you achieve with a personalized tutor is that it will be personalized to the Canadian government environment, to the Canadian government jargon, lingo, to the best practices across the language schools that exist within the government, because the government also has their own language schools. It's all run through the Treasury Board Secretariat. They have an official languages office that is basically trying to manage all the language learning in the federal government from a policy level as well. They have a language hub, for example. So there are best practices. Now, from that point on, if you have a one-on-one tutor, let's get back to our Cité Collégiale example.
Okay.
You were on a very astute observation. It is because of the interaction with other people that the classroom environment is better. But what I was surprised to find out from my friend Anne-Marie, who actually worked at the school, and she was able to give me these stats, is that there's a certain mix in the classroom environment that they found optimal between interacting with your classmates and a teacher teaching you in the class. Would you care to, let's first see, which one do you think it's larger, the interaction or the teacher teaching?
Interaction.
Yes. Now, give me the percentages. Your best guess.
Okay.
How much interaction, how much professor teaching?
Interaction, I would say like 70%.
Wow, you're very close.
Really?
They said 75.
Oh, okay.
Which
5% missing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's already surprising that much goes in interaction. So now we're going to talk about another term of AI, which probably we need to bring it up because it's a very important term that not a lot of people think about. It's called network platform. Do you know what a network platform is?
What is that?
So Facebook's a network platform.
Yes. It's like a social network platform.
It could be social, but for example, Uber is a network platform. So Uber is not social in the way that Facebook is. You don't talk to other users, but the drivers, they benefit of all the information that comes from all the users that use the platform, and that is using AI to figure out which drivers need to be put on which rides, to give an optimal service. Another network platform is LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has the social element, but they also have the networking element and, the CV type element. So there's a lot of network platforms out there. Why not use a network platform to create a classroom environment that would allow AI to give teachers the best tools to teach and to make sure that they reinforce the learning? So that's another term in AI. They have unsupervised learning, supervised learning, but they also have reinforcement learning. So traditionally, the reinforcement learning was up to your listeners. Like if you have a professor and you want to reinforce what you learned, you would have to go on the street and talk to people, or you would have to talk to your friends. Well, now the classroom environment can become reinforcement learning. So that means that you might have human in the loop, what they call, like a bilingual person who is taking the lead role as a professor, for example. They are there with AI enhanced tools to be able to navigate the conversation and steer it towards interesting themes. And you may have a group of people who are all selected to be the same level by AI, or perhaps, whatever is the best mix to learn. And they might learn not just about language, but they might learn about other government departments, what they do. They might, create networking bonds between public servants that will enhance their work. In
Yeah.
my line of work, diplomacy, it's very important to
Mhm.
network with people, not
Mhm.
just within the federal government, but also with other governments. When we're posted abroad,
Yeah.
we have to interact with people from other embassies,
Mhm.
from NGOs.
Mhm.
I'm trying to do the same in my project. I'm trying to be an ambassador for AI within the Canadian government.
Ambassador for
Yes.
AI. I like that word.
Thank you.
Anyway, so I feel like this is like, to me, it feel like a game changer.
Thank you.
So definitely the outcome that you like kind of prospect that this is not just only going to be for public service, right?
Well, eventually, the hope is that it can go to all the Canadians.
Mhm.
The hope is it can also be replicable to other types of training. However, on this competition, it's like a dragon's den. The
Mhm.
public
Mhm.
service data and AI challenge is the third years they're having it,
Yeah.
but it's the first year they integrate AI fully. So last year, the
Oh.
winners integrated AI. They created a chat bot. I believe it provided information about their department.
Mhm.
So that was a very good chatbot that they came up with. However, this year the competition is requiring us to use AI, and we also have to use a very good and clean data set. So our first data set that I proposed was the database of multiple choice questions,
Mhm.
because out of these three exams that I mentioned, one is the oral exam, but the other two are the comprehension and the writing. They are two multiple choice exams. They're currently 30 questions each. They used to be 60 questions each.
Okay.
It didn't necessarily get easier because they cut the time in half. So now,
Yeah,
if you
that's
make the
harder,
same
though.
number of mistakes, well, you have less time to correct yourself.
Yes.
So the issue that I found is that
Mhm.
people used to have these questions in books.
Yes.
So if you wanted to practice, you would have to tabulate on your own, and then you would have to keep track. Did you get better in written format?
Yeah. Mhm.
So the very base of my solution, it provides a facility to take these multiple choice in a way where you can immediately see the right answer and the wrong answer after each question, and you can also keep track of your improvement over time. Now, the AI integration on that component, it's basically generating new questions, what they call synthetic data. So it can generate new questions related to people's government department or people's interests. Like people want to take a break and they have questions that look like the exam questions, but about their favorite movie. That works. So I have a coworker, his name is Bernard. He loves Space Odyssey. So I generated with AI questions that look like the Government of Canada exam question, which are pretty boring, they're like work-related questions. But then I said, make them Space Odyssey related. And Space Odyssey, it's about a monolith on the moon and NASA and a spaceship going to Mars and all that.
Yeah.
So the questions look very similar to the government questions, but they were talking about a memo about the monolith on the moon and memo from NASA manager to another. So they were still having the government lingo, but related to the movie.
Oh.
So you can do that with AI. You can generate new questions. You can also generate learning plans. So the AI can learn all the questions you got wrong, which question you picked wrong.
Yeah.
And which question was right, and then you can look at the delta and figure out, okay, the person got it wrong because they don't really understand the masculine
question
versus feminine, or they don't understand the prepositions, and the AI can come up with a learning plan and other practice questions that are targeted to that to help you, and you can have your own PDF that comes out from AI and says, okay, you need to study this week, and then come back and try the questions again, and you might improve. I tried it actually.
Okay.
I role played. I was the AI tutor. So you can mix these two concepts.
Okay.
So I basically took the AI tutor and I said, I'm going to be the AI tutor and I will teach an employee how to get better at these questions. And first, he tried it on his own. A 30-question exam, 45 minutes. He got 25%. So that's a fail. It's an X.
That's a fail, yeah.
X. Then we did a role play for 45 minutes pretending I'm the AI tutor. He got 75%. Then we did the live shooting. I actually recorded it and I swapped myself with an avatar just to see the concept video.
Okay.
Care to guess what he got?
Ooh.
From 75, 76? How much more on the third try?
90.
86.
86, not bad.
So in government lingo, that's going from X to a B, which is
Yeah.
intermediate, to a C, which is basically one of the higher levels of advanced. Now, it was the same exam,
Yeah.
but I was not giving him the answers. I was helping him as a tutor would. So I would sometimes translate him the questions. Sometimes I would let him understand the grammar behind it and like discuss it back and forth and analyze, what he would remember and try to slowly guide him towards the right answer, but not really give him the right answer. So there's a video that we came up with that, and I showed it to the Prime Minister's office. I showed it to the Shared Service Canada, and they were really happy to see the AI concept in action. Now we're trying to build this. So that's the avatar that I was talking about.
Okay.
And then the classroom is a third concept. So you have the test-taking facility with multiple choice, you have the AI tutor, and then you have the human in the loop. They're three separate concepts that we're trying to build in one app.
Oh, wow. And do we, like, people like us or our listeners, will we have a chance to use it in future if it's gonna happen?
Well, if it's gonna happen, yes, eventually. So what we're hoping to do is, if we win the competition in December, and it's going to be at the Global Government Summit. So it's a big summit that's happening in December, I believe December 9th and 10th
in Ottawa.
In Ottawa, yes.
Oh,
and I believe it's free for public servants to attend.
Okay.
It's organized by the Global Government Forum, which is a UK organization. They run the same competition that I mentioned in the UK. In the UK, it's called Civil Service Challenge. Here, it's called Public Service Challenge. I'm a part of this competition with a team. It's Team 1. We're one of the 4 finalist teams. So it went from 8 teams in March to 4 teams in June. And now we're going to gear towards hopefully becoming the winners. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I wish.
Thank you. And if we do win, then we would get more resources and support from the Chief Data Officer of Canada, from the Chief Statistician of Canada, and from other key government departments to implement our tool for the federal public servants. Now, of course, if it shows that it works well and across the federal government, we are hoping that it will be available for all Canadians, because it would be a very useful public service. And this would allow Canada to be a leader in the AI space, especially on the learning vertical, which is very important, because learning and AI is the future of learning, basically. But we should not forget the humans that would teach. Like, we don't want only AI to teach people, because, as you said, AI might have security concerns. It may also have a certain kind of coldness that you don't have the human touch. So you want to balance the AI learning with human involved learning.
So basically use AI as a tool.
Yeah.
But so it's kind of like that.
But keep the human
touch to still make interaction.
Well, exactly. Like, we want to make sure that human teachers are still around. My parents were both teachers in high school and in primary school. So, it's important to make sure that humans are still teaching other humans, and it's not just the computer teaching us. Because otherwise we might all end up thinking like AI, and that may not be the best way for society as a whole.
And I'm actually see an opportunity from this, though, because if this project happening, for sure, it will help a lot for the people who actually don't have access to education.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or don't have any resources to teach. So now they can at least they have internet or something. They can use that. If this project is working, I will can call Canada as a bilingual country. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And we are bilingual officially. Those are our official languages. But today, on the Day of Truth and Reconciliation, I think it's very appropriate to think of the unceded territory on which we are sitting.
Yeah.
And it's also very important to think the fact that in Canada there's not just English and French, but there's also Indigenous languages, and there's many of them.
Yes.
So my hope is that we can integrate the Indigenous languages in this tool and in the public version of the tool, if that comes to fruition. And we would make sure that our public servants that are Indigenous and our Indigenous Canadians are able to learn the other official languages directly from their own language. And the other people like anybody in the world perhaps could learn the beauty of the indigenous languages as well. So that would be an added benefit to AI learning, is to make sure that you are covering all the linguistic wealth and diversity of Canada, you know, and I think that's something that definitely can be worked out, you know, with enough will and enough push, you know, people can get to the bottom of it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming today. We have only 45 seconds in the hours.
Sure.
So, do you have anything to sum up?
Well,
or
just
to add?
To sum up, I think it's very important to make sure that AI is not cutting jobs, that it's enhancing people's ability to do their work. And with regard to education, we have to find the right balance between AI learning and human learning, and how we can use AI to also enhance the human part of the learning. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for coming today. And I hope to
My
see
pleasure.
you once again next time. Yeah. So that was it today, guys, for the TED Talk. It's not a TED Talk, it's a Tech Talk on CHUO 89.1 FM with me, Mickey, aka Kitty Pink. But for now, it's already end of the show. So I have to go, guys. Bye. And don't forget, this live will be aired on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch for CHUO. And also, it will be re-aired tonight. And also, maybe next week. We will see if I have enough time to edit the, the video. But we will see, guys. So anyway, have a good day. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.